Hello students. So this is my recorded lecture for our supposedly meeting last Friday. So I apologize about it. And then I also thank you for your understanding. So let's start. So if you could still recall in the first sessions that we had with our class, I mentioned na there will be parts of IT fundamentals wherein I will discuss as to how does IT fundamentals or how does IT is being used in terms of kumbaga with respect to the course that you enrolled, which is criminology. So to give you a perspective about it, you know this one already. Now when you enroll in criminology, you have what do you call this one, you have subjects that tackles law, how it's being implemented, who are involved, and then what will be the consequences if this particular laws will be violated, diba? So this last topic that I have right now, actually this is the last material. I still have the last topic by Monday. So, please be reminded na after this discussion, I will give the task performance. Okay? So this one is for activity number 8. Okay? So, let's start. So this is this is information technology fundamentals with respect to the legal issues. Okay? So I think you can relate on this one. So these are the following legal issues that arise when someone uses the internet and even computers. So ibig sabihin, these are the possible crimes that will be committed by an end user, and then these are the kumbaga, these are some violations na they will came across if they happen to do this one. Okay? So let's start first with the first one. This one is intellectual property. So intellectual property, this one grants exclusive rights to the ownership of the content that they have created. So for example, you have created a particular method, a particular study, a particular technique, a particular material, whether it be a graphic, na you think na no one has this kind of material, sir. So I need to have it patented, I need to have it copyrighted, and then gusto ko siyang maprotektahan, sir. So you use intellectual property. So you only do that one if you would want to have exclusive rights to its ownership. So again, this one is granted. Ibig sabihin, if you would want to have an intellectual property right of a particular material, you need to apply for it. And then Philippines have a department for that one. Like meron tayong office for intellectual property. Okay? So if it's granted, ibig sabihin, you have the right. Okay? Like lahat ng exclusive rights for that one will be under your custody na dayon. Like imuha na din na siya. And if you notice here in the material, I have highlighted it here. You may have the exclusive rights to use it because you created it. So make sure na pag mag-apply ka ng intellectual property, like gikan or from its conception to designing to development to implementation and then to distribution, alam mo lahat because it will be tackled during the application. So if it will not be granted, ano ba yung mga possible cases or ano mga possible scenarios wherein your application will not be granted? Your application will not be granted if it has, like for example, this material or technology is already existing. Okay, this method is already existing. You can't patent this one or you can't apply for an exclusive right for this one because meron na tayong kumbaga there is already an existing right for this. Okay, and then here's the good thing. Did you know na if you have an intellectual property of a particular material, you will have some benefits. Some of it are monetary, some of it is for research and studies. So that's also a good advantage if you do an intellectual property or if you apply IPR on a particular material that you created. Okay? So under intellectual property, you have copyright laws. Okay? So for copyright laws naman, you have it here. This is a subset of intellectual property but differs in the interpretation and use. So for example, you have kumbaga na patent mo na yung particular material mo and then someone would want to use it. So they can apply for copyright. So you have it here. This copyright provides the creator gives the creator of a work exclusive rights to its use and distribution for a limited time period. Like for example, meron akong patent on a particular technology and Sir Bungkas would want to use it. So he will apply for a copyright and then he can only use it for a given period of time or depende sa contract. Okay? Another naman issue that arises when we talk about computers and internet is itong digital rights management. Okay. So since the birth of internet, 'di ba? With internet everyone can share, everyone can upload, everyone can download. And then here comes the problem, the growing problem of the unauthorized copying and distribution of material, 'di ba? So I think that is already rampant even in the Philippines. So with DRM, itong DRM na I'm talking right now, this one helps prevent illegal downloads by requiring access verification to protect the material. So anong example nito? Like for example, 'di ba? Since it talks about illegal copying and distribution of material, for example, in movies, you have already what we call Netflix, 'di ba? We have Disney Plus, we have Amazon Prime. So these companies develop a particular platform wherein users get to watch or download the video, but then they will not be able to distribute it to other people. Okay? So, bakit? Because it requires access verification. Ano bang form ng access verification ang nire-require ni digital rights management? You are to provide, di ba? They will provide you, like for example, si Netflix, to access their service, you need a username and a password, and then you get to log in na dayon. Okay? So, with this one, kumbaga the process of unauthorized copying and distribution could either be lessened or be avoided. So, yan yung purpose nila. And then, imagine, di ba? If you think of it, like for example, if you are the artist of a particular song or a movie, and then people just got to access your material without your permission. 'Di ba? It's kind of murag off kaayo siya. Dili siya okay, 'di ba? Especially kung for example akong artista. And then I work for that movie, we paid for the staff, we paid for its production, and then you just get to watch it for free. I think that is not fair. Remember, they consume their effort, ay kung kumaga they exerted their effort, they consume their money for it para ma-produce lang ang movie and then you just get to copy it illegally. So, if you would want to watch the movie, why not watch it legally? I think 149 pesos will not hurt your pocket man sad, 'di ba? Like for example, Netflix only cost you a standard version of 149. So I think that's also a good investment, especially if you are bored, okay? The next one is software licensing. This one is very rampant in the Philippines. So, ano ba yung software licensing? This concept of software licensing arise because it's rampant in the Southeast Asian countries na kumbaga users or end users or those who use the computer get to what they call this one get to use a particular software for free even if they did not paid for it, and it's not a good practice. Okay, so when you do software licensing, you are to agree to the terms and conditions of the software, like for example from installation to usage and then for to distribution. You are to agree on it before you can install it. Usually you see this one before you install a particular software, di ba? Usually gali kani siya is dili ginabasa, but that is a wrong practice. Remember, itong end user license agreement, you have it here, oh, this defines what you can and you cannot do. So by generic, kumbaga, if we will talk about a generic setup for this one, a user when granted with the permission to install it, like for example, imo siyang gipalit, you can install it, but you are not allowed to distribute it to other people. Okay? So what if I have a lot of I will buy one software but then I will distribute it to others. It's also a wrong practice. So dili siya correct. Okay? You have it here. End users will not be able to proceed to the next stage of installing it not unless they will accept the agreements. Diba? You have experienced this one. Before you install or proceed to the next one, imo pa na siyang I accept to the terms and conditions. The rest na dayon is the installation process. So, you have it here. Vendors also use licensing, diba? Let's look into the perspective of the vendor, katong gabaligya silbi sa software. if the people will use the software for anything that breaks the law, wala sila labot silbi. Okay? That's also one way of kumbaga helping people to be responsible. For example, I purchased a software for image editing and then I created a content na pinaras. Okay? Ang makasuhan dili si software ay katong namaligi sa software but rather ako lang. Okay? So that's part of the end user license agreement. And also, you have it here. Uh, Usually man gyud si software licensing, they provide you with a product key and then you are to activate it online para bito ma-check nila. So for example, napalit ko og operating system na Windows 11 and then gi-install na ako sa akong laptop and then I will give it to my brother. So kato kung my brother's laptop will not be activated because I have already installed it in my own laptop. So that's the purpose also of product keys. They provide or they help companies to monitor which one has license, which one doesn't have. Okay, and to that one, you also have it here types of software licensing. So we have the proprietary, and then we have the second one which is the open source. Pag proprietary, ibig sabihin you are to pay for it. Okay, you are to pay for it. You can use it but you do not own it. Yan yung concept ni proprietary. Yes, you bought it but you bought the service, not the entire kumbaga not the entirety of the software. Okay? You can use it but do not own it. Okay? Pag si open source software naman, the software that is not only free to use but is also its source code. So the software you can use it for free. You don't own it. Everyone owns it because everyone can get to modify it. Okay? So, for example, I will give an example. Si Microsoft, they have their Microsoft Office. Diba? When you deal about documents, spreadsheet, PowerPoint. Si Linux naman, naa sila free. Like, if you don't, like for example, you don't have any money to purchase Microsoft, they can provide you with the free, which is what we call LibreOffice. LibreOffice, diba? It's quite kumbaga it's quite familiar on our part, di ba? So again, pag proprietary, magbayad ka and then you can use it but you don't own it. Pag open source, you don't need to pay, you can use it and then you can even modify it and then you can share it to anyone else, okay? So another problem that is being kumbaga addressed right now in our society is software piracy. Okay? This one is the unauthorized copying of software programs. Like for example, in Southeast Asia, it's very common na they call it crack, 'di ba? Like for example, I can't purchase a particular software. I-crack na lang nako di, 'di ba? That's a wrong practice. Okay, we have here types of software piracy. The first one is counterfeit software. Kani siya, usually this one is kumbaga uh, ang mabiktima dani is ang customer, like wala siya kabalo na this one is not the original one, it's a counterfeit silbi. So you have it here. The media and packaging may look genuine but only because the software has been copied and packaged to look like the original. So ang ginabot dani sa mga counterfeit na software is that they purchase the original version, they try to imitate it na mura siya legit silbi and then they sold it in the market with the same price, di ba? So luoy kayo ang mabaligyaan. The second one is what we call piracy. So muna akong example kaganina wherein for example a company or an institution has 100 computers and ang ila din gipayta dayon nga software license is 50. That is corporate piracy. So na-purchase ka og 50 pero gi-install nimo sa 500 ka buok. That is not a good practice. So you also have it here, unbundling packages. So for example, in our laptop today, like the common setup, pag mapayat kag laptop karon na pataban na OS. Okay? When say OS kanang operating system ba? So if you will like for example, preloaded naman silbi si computer, like naka-install naman siya, they will provide you with a backup na DVD just in case dili siya mo install. And then ang uban is ginabaligya na siya, which is not a good practice also. So with here, Internet piracy. So this is internet piracy. Sites that offer these illegal activities sometimes contains malware that can infect the user computer when he downloads from them. So kani siyang pinaka-rampant among all internet piracy, like uh, wala ko'y copy or I don't have any access to Netflix. I'll just go to 123movies.com. Di na ako ha, example lang only. For example, wala ko'y Netflix and then I would want to watch this movie for free. People will then, or I will go to a particular website para mag-download. So that is what we call internet piracy. Okay? So, kaning mga ka-mention dani, all of this has a corresponding, kumbaga, corresponding case or legal actions if ever you commit this one. Like for example, pag intellectual property and then naa kay gigamit without the permission of the owner, you will be notified, you will be filed with the case, and then para maundang siya nga kaso or mawa siya nga kaso, you need to pay for it. In general, I cannot talk about kung unsa gid ang iya bitang mga specific gyud na kaso dani, 'di ba? Ang ako lang maka-guarantee lang dani, what I can only guarantee is that when you will be filed a case for a particular problem na atong na-mention dani, it corresponds to a particular money, meaning na ay kwarta para masulbad gyud siya gyud. Okay? So if I were you, avoid it so that you will not be faced with such problem. Okay? So you have it here, ethical issues. The following are different ethical issues in computing with regards to internet and web. Since what I mentioned a while ago, internet piracy was very common, you have it here, ethical issues that we need to discuss. Para bitaw aware sa mo sad na, because there is a concept man gyud in in law na ignorance of the law does excuses no one. So even if you don't know the law, if you committed it, you cannot have it as an excuse na wala ka kabalo, di ba? I think that is already very basic. So the first one is plagiarism. This one is the practice of copying someone else's work and pretending that it is your own. Okay, for example, in your assignment, for example, I will let you answer an essay and then you just googled your answer. That is what we call plagiarism. Okay, we have here several forms of plagiarism. First one, copying work produced by someone else, word for word. Okay? Word for word, ayan o. And of course, presenting it as your own. The next one, inserting portion of someone else's work into your own, diba? Na ako'y own idea pero na ako'y gusto i-insert na gikan sa iya, sir. So kana siya, plagiarism gyapon. Changing some few words, kani mo na ginabuhat sa uban nato nga classmate nato, diba? Gina-change nila ang word para mura siya ilha po dayon. That is a wrong one. The last one is taking material from multiple sources and putting it together to look kumbaga to have it as something na iya silbi. So ang ginabot niya is that kolektahon ako tanan same kumbaga sources with the same topic and then ako siyang i-compile and then ako din siyang ipakita nga okay, this is my work, di ba? That is a wrong practice. This is what you call plagiarism. So if you are doing the 4 of this one, it means na you are under plagiarism. Ga-plagiarize ka. Okay? So, how do you avoid plagiarism? Like for example, naagig kay kanabitang, for example, you are to write an essay, you are to answer a problem, pero gusto nimo gamiton ang idea sa lain tao. Okay? So what you will do is that you can do 2 methods. The first one is what you call citations. Kaning citations is that when you copy someone else's work, provide that you include them as reference to the source. What does this mean? It means na you agree with their idea, so you put their idea on your answer, and then you give credit sa ilaha. Meaning, imo silang kanabitang tagaan sa kanabitang murag kanang, what you call one? I don't know what the correct term, pero it's like giving credit gyud. Kana bang imong i-acknowledge silbi nga, okay, I answered this question with the help of someone else's idea. So, that is what you call citations. So, there are certain formats when you do citation. Like, for example, kani nga quote kay maka-answer na ni nga essay. So, I will quote dahil na, for example, Bungkas 2021. Diba? That's an example of citation. Kumbaga, in article citation. Okay? The second one is what you call paraphrasing. Kani siya is that you use different words to convey the same idea, but still, you will cite kung asa nimo na siya nakuha. Okay? Kaning sa using citations, pwede nimo kwaon gid ang original nga phrase, original nga sentence, and then citation dayon. Sa paraphrasing, pwede nimo bag-ohon ang words. Like for example, uh, gusto nimo gusto nimo ang iyang idea pero mas better pa if ikaw mismo ang mag-explain. Like you would want to use your own words. So, you can do it but then cite gyapon. Like give credit gyapon sa kung kinsa gid ang own original idea. Okay? Another ethical issue is censorship. Pag censorship gali, like for example, you have this kind of website wherein you promote or you sell products, and then someone will provide a negative comment. So you can erase that one, diba? You have it here. A negative review of a product on the manufacturer's website. Your view may be deleted. This is an example of corporate censorship. So if you own the website, you can just delete man sad. And then you also have filtering. This one is you exclude certain categories of content from general access. Like for example, you have your brother who is not yet age 18. So you filter out websites that is not good for his eyes, diba? The third one is what you call flaming. Like for example, you have this one is very common in Facebook or social media. Like for example, there is a video or a post that talks about a certain topic or a certain situation in the country, and then negativity or bashing escalates. So you have it here. When the negativity escalates as more comments are posted, it is known as flame war. Ibig sabihin, like you are adding fuel to the fire na dayon. Kaya bitong makapil-apil na ka, and then you get to say your piece gyapon, pero most of it are in negative form. That's what you call flaming. You also have libel and then slander. Libel is putting a false and offensive statement in writing. So for example, you write something or you post something against your friend in social media. Again na, pag ma-post na siya gali, it means it's published. So it can be used against you. So be careful with that one. The second one is slander. This one is a verbal version in libel. So kanilang siya is if it's published and then if na eyewitness, that's really a problem. So much better if to avoid libel and slander, do not post anything bad against someone else, 'di ba? If na kay something against iya, just keep it yourself na lang or talk to the person in private para mas okay silbi. Not post it, not do kumbaga backstabbing in group chats and then private conversations kay it might be used against you. Remember, pag maagali evidence, it will be used against you. Okay? The last one is what you call spamming. So kani siya is that you are kumbaga sending emails without them asking for your opinion or any message. So spam works like that. So spams are unsolicited or junk emails typically containing offers for products. So for example, if you will sign up for Zalora, from time to time you will receive I'm not saying that it's a spam, but then it becomes a spam because dagan kailang ipanghatag yun seryoso na na mga kanamang offers for their products. I don't consider it as spam, pero that's the closest example I can provide. It's not a spam because it's legit man sad, but sometimes I would like to consider it as a spam. Okay? So kani siya, ang endpoint din then is that as a result, users waste valuable time reading and deleting unwanted messages. Diba? If you notice, pag nabi ay email and then you turn on the notification in your cell phone, you read it baya, diba? So that wastes our time. Okay? So, kaning mga ethical issues, kaya kaning legal, it means nga naay balaod dani nga imong ma-violate. Kaning ethical issues naman, it talks about how you behave in the internet among your peers. And then if you will ask me like, sir, na per corresponding nga balaod daning ethical issues? Yes, there is, 'di ba? So please make sure na you behave in the internet properly. You do things kumbaga you do things the right way. Kay usually if we think about it nga murag usually man gyud most of the problems that arise in the internet are coming from people who think na they are the only ones who can use and then access to the internet. 'Di ba? Kana bang mga tao bitaw nga mag-ingon nga, it's my Facebook, why do you care? excuse me, Facebook, you don't own Facebook. This one is a free platform. It means that you have a responsibility gyapon to kumbaga negotiate or communicate properly. Okay? So kana lang siya. So legal issues and then legal issues and ethical issues. So for your task performance activity number 8, I'd like you to comment on the video below, diba? Give this video a thumbs up, okay? Comment down below what have you learned from this online discussion, okay? And then I'll see you on Monday. Deadline for the posting of comments will be before our class on Monday. Thank you so much, guys, for listening, and see you on Monday. Bye.